Hello, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to the reading practice session. I hope all of you are good, doing great. So let's begin with today's test, and I'll share my screen with the questions. Make sure that all of you are timing yourself. We will start with reading writing questions first. I'll give you 2.5 minutes to post your answers for the questions. Make sure that you are timing yourself and taking no more than 2.5 minutes to post your responses. You should be ready with a pen and paper to take notes, like we discussed yesterday, that what exactly you need to note down. And then when we are having the discussion, try that you are focusing more on the ways, the thought process in getting the answers rather than just marking right and wrong answers. That will be better, more helpful to you if you will learn how to think on a blank, how to analyze a blank. So here is your first question. You have 2.5 minutes starting now, and then post your answers in the chat box, please. Oh wow, 𝗙𝗿𝗀𝗀𝗃, congratulations! 90 in reading, wow! I have got a good result after so many days. Obviously, because I was not in touch with you students. Congratulations from all of us. This is something really nice. You're welcome, always welcome. God bless you. May you achieve more and more and more success in life. And we really hope that whatever reason you give your exam for, it also gets fulfilled very soon. All the very best for your future. Very good scores. Speaking and reading, dono 90, writing 85, and listening 85. Very nice. Well done. Good attempt. Great hard work and efforts, without which no teacher can help you unless and until you have the confidence and you apply whatever you learn. So at the end of the day, it's you who are responsible for whatever you have got. Congratulations. I'm very happy. Thank you, 𝗙𝗿𝗀𝗃, for coming. It really means a lot when someone comes back and shares his or her result. I really feel very happy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take my part of the credit, but it's not 100% my credit. It all is your hard work and effort. See, the way you manage those 2 hours makes all the difference. If in those 2 hours you are nervous, you are unable to control your senses, you are not able to concentrate, your focus is lost somewhere else, you're distracted, then this is not possible. So it's very important how you manage yourself in those 2 hours, which makes all the difference, what I believe. But thank you so much for coming. Party hard. I'll come. Are you in Australia, 𝗙𝗿𝗃, currently? I'll come soon and meet you. Then we'll party. There are so many students waiting that, ma'am, when you'll come back, we'll have a party. One more name added. I want a long list before I come back. So anyhow, I really hope that this one good result brings a lot of good luck to this whole group, and all of you start getting your results very, very soon. Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll share my number with you. You need any help anytime, just let us know. Bye bye, take care. All the very best for your future ahead. Okay, and rest of you, start solving. You have 2.5 minutes. Get back to work and then share your answers. Okay, should be done. It's a very easy question. A lot of things are the ones that we have already discussed in this week only, so you should be remembering those. Post your answers, those who haven't. And I'm feeling very bad to look at the first answer that I've got. How many of you have not seen the grammar videos in which we have discussed the difference between although and despite? We have discussed the gerund aspect into it, that if you have ing form of verb written after the blank, then you will always go with despite. You will not go with although. Although comes when you have a noun written after plus verb. But if you have a gerund form, ing form, then you have to go with despite always. Please note it down, those who have forgotten or those who did not know this. So although comes when you have noun plus verb, subject plus verb, not ing form. Noun should come first and then should come the verb. Regardless comes with regardless of. Despite can come when you have only noun without verb, or when you have ing form of verb written after the blank. As per comes when you refer, as per the law, and then you write what is written in the law. As per the constitution means you're referring to the constitution and then you want to refer to what is written inside it. As per the book, what is written inside the book, that is when we use as per. As per the rules, reference to the rules, and what does the rule say. So that is it's very important that you should know the use of each and every option. Only then you will be able to find out that what your sentence says out of this, and then you can match your answer. So despite continuous significance of farming, grazing and mining activities that have shaped most of Australia's landscapes and contributed so much to its history, the sentence is complete. Still we have a blank. History is a noun, so we need adjective. What kind of history Australia has? Individual or joint are not the words that can describe history. Distinctive means different from others. This is a very common word that comes in the blanks. You generally get options different, distinct. Both the options are given in the four options. And then you have to find out whether they want to say that this thing is different as compared to others. Then you always go with distinct over different. Different is just used when you have kinds of something, like you can say, I have different kinds of fruits. So different means variety of. Whereas distinct means different from others. So you have to note this meaning of distinctive to remember it for lifetime. Different from others, then you use the word distinct or distinctive. We cannot say Australia has similar history because they haven't said similar to whom or similar to which country. And characteristic is not an adjective that can describe kind of history. So we'll say Australia has a distinctive history, means very different from others' history. Australia is statistically the most urbanized countries in the world. Sentence is complete, still there's a blank. So Australia is, and then we have countries in the world, whereas Australia is singular. So it should be Australia is statistically the most urbanized country in the world. Why is it countries? In these kind of sentences, when you start with singular but then you have plural written after, you have to go with among, because they want to say Australia is one of the most urbanized countries in the world. And one of the means among. Among always comes when you have a plural noun written after. Whereas more than 2/5 of Australia's population lived in rural areas in 1911, by the 1970s, that proportion dashed to about 1/7. We did this yesterday only. Whenever we have by with the year, we always go with past perfect tense, had plus third form. No confusions at all. Simply follow the rule. So we have by, we will go with had. And then at the beginning of the 21st century, urbanization had slowed, but nearly 9/10 of the population is officially described as urban. Statistics, however, mask part of the story, not taking into dash the peculiar role of the bush in the Australian psyche. Taking into is a phrase. There are two words that comes in the phrase. Taking into consideration and taking into account. Both of them are phrases with taking into and written the third word. What we have here is we have account. If you will have consideration, you will go with consideration. Account is generally given when we are talking about stats. Then what is written is always taking into account. If you are talking about a fact, then you go with taking into consideration. Here, the topic going is statistics, and that is why they have given us account in the options and not consideration. Right? So these are the answers. Although comes when you have noun plus verb. Regardless comes with regardless of. Despite comes when you have ing form or you have only noun without verb. And as per is used when we refer to something. And then distinctive means different from others. This can be a word that can describe history, that the history of this country is very different from other countries. The third one, among, always comes when you have a plural noun written after. The fourth one, with by, you always go with had plus third form. And taking into account, taking into consideration are phrases. And those who have not got 5 out of 5, there was a lot of things for you to note down. And if you are not noting down, this is the biggest mistake you are doing even after attending the classes. Very well done, Anu. Any other confusion, anyone? As per is for reference, Emma. Despite with noun or ing. Regardless comes with of. Although comes with noun plus verb. Both the things should be there. Any other confusions, anyone? No problem. Ahmed, if you have not gone through the videos, you need to go through them. They're very important. Question number 2 on your screens. 2.5 minutes to post your answers for this one. Post your answers, those who haven't. Is the first sentence a suggestion? Those who are writing A as the answer, what has happened to you? This we have been discussing in last 3 classes, that should is used for suggestion, should is used for suggestion, and your writing great should be an understatement. Is this a suggestion to somebody? And then the second most common answer is would. Are you sure this is an understatement? Would is the past form of will, right? So when you want to say will in the past, you say would. So we are sure that this is an understatement. The Great Wall of China, great dash be an understatement, great might be. We are just taking a possibility, a chance that maybe great is also an understatement because it is so great that even the word great looks small. Might be. Because this is not a fact. This is not that somebody has proven this thing. This is just a way of acknowledging that how good it is. So this is not something which an author has written or there is a book about proving that it is an understatement. Just a saying. The Great Wall of China, great might be an understatement. One of the world's largest building construction projects, the Great Wall of China is widely thought to be these many miles. A disputed Chinese study, however, claims the length is these many miles. Work began in the 7th century and dashed for 2 millennia. So obviously past tense, work began and the work has finished. The work is not right now going. So we need simple past tense. Work began and work continued is the only simple past option that we have out of all the 4 options. A and C are present tenses and had been. Been is used when we want to say something was continuing. But we want to say work began and finished. So work began and continued for 2 millennia. Although called a wall, the structure actually dashed 2 parallel walls of 4 lengthy stretches. Structure is singular. We need a verb with S because this is a fact. Although we call it a wall, what actually it is. So it's a fact statement. And facts are always written in present tenses. So structure is singular, we need a verb with S, and when we look at the 4 options, constituent is without S, that cannot be the answer first of all. The structure highlights 2 walls. So the structure means bricks, walls. Is that structure highlighting 2 walls there? Highlight means gives importance to something or gives specifications to something, that is highlighting. The structure consists, what we need of with consists of 2 walls. So it has to be the structure features, means what exactly the structure shows. The structure shows 2 walls are there for lengthy stretches. In addition, watchtowers and barracks dot the bulwark. One not so great thing about the wall, however, was its effectiveness. Dash, it was built to prevent invasions and raids. The wall failed to provide security. 2 parts in the sentence with a comma in between. First part is positive, the second part is negative. Whenever we have one positive and one negative statement, we go with despite or although. Here we have although in the options, we will go with although. Second check that although should come. We have a pronoun plus verb. Like I said, you need a noun and a verb, or subject and a verb. So it is the subject here, prevent is the verb, or built is the verb, sorry. Built is the verb. So we have noun and subject plus verb, both the things. So we'll go with although, one positive side, after the comma, the negative aspect. So although it was built to prevent invasions and raids, the wall failed to provide security. The sentence is complete. Failed is a verb, so we need adverb, something with ly here. We have 3 adverbs. Moderately failed. Moderately means averagely. That's okay. Not so good, not so bad. That is averagely. moderately. That cannot come here. We cannot say the wall average, not good, not bad, it failed. So mostly and largely are synonyms. Largely is more academic, so we'll go with largely. The meaning of largely is mostly, to a great extent. All these two words mean largely. So the wall largely failed means to a great extent it failed to provide security. The reason for which it was made, it failed to serve that purpose. Right, so the first one should be great might be an understatement because this is not something that someone has proved. We are just saying it. The second one, we just needed simple past tense because the sentence started with simple past tense. Work began, work continued. Structure dash two parallel words. Structure is singular. We need a verb with s. Consists cannot come without of. Highlights doesn't make sense. But features means shows. The structure shows two parallel words. It makes sense. Although, because there is one positive side, one negative side with a comma in between. Also, after the blank, we had both subject plus verb. So we will go with although. And the wall, the wall failed to provide security. Mostly and largely means the same. Largely is more academic, so we'll go with the wall largely failed. How can we put also here, Zoya? We did discuss the use of also yesterday as well. Also comes when you want to say second thing. The wall failed to do this. The wall also failed to do that. So also means this also. This is the second thing that the wall has failed in. When you're talking about the first failure, you cannot say also. Can you say Mr. A also failed in chemistry? No. Mr. A failed in physics. Mr. A also failed in chemistry. Then that is the use of also. Any confusions, anyone? Okay. Let's move ahead. Question number 3, 2.5 minutes to post your answers. Think whether you need a positive answer or negative answer before you finalize your answer. Hoping to participate in the traditional American ethos of individual success, many African American people entered the armed forces with dash only to find themselves segregated dash white troops and subjected to indignities. So you have to understand this writing style. When do we use the word only to? This can come in the exam as a blank as well. That's why I'm explaining this to you. So we use the word only to when we want to say something opposite happened. If I create a simple sentence for you to note down, you can write down, I hurried to reach the station only to find that the train had left. So you hurried to reach the station, but when you reach there, the train had left. So something negative comes after only to. So when you have only to written, the part written before only to and after only to should have some kind of contrast in it. That whatever you were hoping, the opposite happened. That's when we use the word only to in between. Note it down, please. So here, after only to, you have negative. They were segregated. They were subjected to indignities. Both the words are enough to tell us that this is negative happened. That means before this, there should be something positive happening. So people, they're hoping to participate. The many African American people entered the armed forces with some good intentions. So we need a positive word here. Indifference is negative, and people cannot enter the armed forces with interest, emotion. Enthusiasm is a positive word. Enthusiasm means a lot of positivity, a lot of enthusiasm that they want to serve the nation. That is enthusiasm in you. That you want to do something. That is enthusiasm for the army especially. So the African American, they entered the armed forces with enthusiasm, but what happened was they find themselves segregated. The word segregated always comes with the word from. Please make a note of it. Segregated from. We did the meaning of segregated yesterday when we used it in the blank. That when I explained to you that segregated is when we talk about discrimination between male and female, was that question. And here also there is discrimination on the basis of color. So white and people of color were segregated from each other. So African American would be people of color. They were segregated from the white troops and subjected to indignities. Plural, we have a blank. Indignities is a noun. We just need adjective. What kind of indignities or how many? A lot cannot come because we need a lot of indignities. Few means less indignities. That will make the sentence positive. Varying means different types of, and we should go with just numerous because they didn't give us any types of indignity. So we can just say they have to face a lot of indignities, numerous indignities, many indignities. They returned to a US that was as segregated as it had been before the war. Considering similar experiences, anthropologist Anthony has argued that when a gap arises between a culture's expectations and reality, the tension can inspire a movement. Very important sentence. So I have eliminated the difficult words. I have just read the easy words so that I can understand, because it's a long sentence. There are two blanks in it. With commas, it is not possible to fill the blank without understanding. And for understanding, you always will have to simplify the sentence. So considering the similar experiences, similar means these negative ones. This person has argued that when a gap arises between expectations and reality, that means when you are expecting something good to happen, but the reality is harsh, the tension can inspire. What kind of tension? The resulting tension. Resulting because the tension comes out of this gap. So this blank was based on context. Where is this tension coming from? This tension is coming from the gap. So when there is a gap, the resulting tension, that means the tension which comes out of this gap, can inspire a movement. Do we use the word inspire for a negative thing? Inspire word is never used in negative aspect. It is always used in positive aspect. So they are saying the resulting tension can inspire a movement. That means a positive movement comes out of this tension. And the way they have used again positive words, an organized conscious effort to construct a culture that dash expectations. So a culture is singular. We need a verb with s and a positive word. You have written neglects, which is negative. And we cannot say we want to construct a culture that expects expectations. No, a culture that fulfills the expectations. Because that is why you started that movement. Because your expectations were not being fulfilled. The expectations and reality was different. And because of that tension, you started a movement which should be organized, in which you should make an effort to make a culture that fulfills those expectations. So whenever there are long sentences, more than one blank, you will have to simplify by picking up the easy words so that you analyze whether you need a positive or negative word, you need a singular or a plural word. The basis will still remain the same, but they cannot happen unless and until you simplify and analyze to an extent. Right? So people entered armed forces with something good because only two will start the negative version of the story. So segregated always comes with from. Third one, subjected to indignities, just a casual blank, many indignities, numerous indignities, a lot of indignities, because there's no variety being discussed. So we cannot go with varying. The fourth one, the tension comes out of this gap. So that is the meaning of the resulting tension can inspire a movement. Inspire is positive. So organized, conscious efforts are positive words. So we also need a positive word with S in the last blank, and that is fulfills the expectations. So this has to be your thinking when you are solving your questions. Positive, negative, singular, plural. Where is it starting from? How do we use while? What comes after by? How do we use only to? Right? Indignities is disrespects. When you have to face embarrassments, when you are constantly taunted at, when you are constantly made to feel that you are inferior, that is indignity. Dignity is a respectful life. So indignity would be disrespect, basically. No problem. Fourth question on your screen. So you have 2.5 minutes. Oh, 6 blanks. 2.5 minutes and post your answers. should have been completed in less than 2.5 minutes because 2 answers were given in the passage itself. How many of you found them? So the first is GDP, which measures the dollar value of finished goods and services produced by an economy during a given period, serves as the chief indicator, because in the last sentence they said that indicators such as the GDP, which tells us that GDP is an indicator. So it is an indicator of what? Of the economic dash of the United States, and the topic is to study the well-being, which was also given in the passage itself. The topic was not welfare, economic welfare of the United States. It was about the economic well-being of the United States. The GDP assumes that the economic significance of goods and services lies solely in their price, and that these goods and services add to the national well-being, not because of any intrinsic value they may dash, but simply because they were produced and bought. So may is a modal, with modals come first form of verb. Possess means have. Dominate, we understand when we forcefully make somebody do something that is dominating behavior. Maintain, be retaining is not first form. So value, goods and services. Only these two words. Goods and services dash value. Goods and services maintain value. Goods and services dominate value. Or goods and services have a value. So it was simple. They were just talking about we take those goods and services in GDP which have a value. We don't include valueless goods and services. So that possess means the goods and services that have a value. But simply because they were produced and bought, additionally, only those goods and services involved in monetary dash are included in the GDP. So only those goods and services which are involved in monetary dealing. Goods and services are not involved in dealing. Human beings deal. Goods and services don't deal with each other. Monetary business, monetary negotiations, but monetary transactions, because buying and selling means what? There is a give and take of money. So that is called monetary transactions are included. They clarified this in the next sentence when they said that only monetary transactions are included. Thus, GDP ignores economic utility such as clean environment, because that has nothing of a monetary exchange. Cohesive families, communities, these things don't have monetary exchanges. But goods and services, buying and selling, transactions have monetary value. It is not merely coincidental that both the environment and the social structure have been eroded in recent dash. So, not reading the comma to comma part because the sentence is very long, we have to simplify. So, we are not reading the comma to comma part. The sentence is absolutely complete. It is not merely coincidental. What we have in the options is connectors. It is so not merely coincidental, since not merely, therefore, because. Therefore should be the answer, because this is what we are concluding the overall paragraph. Whatever we have said before, we are now concluding. That therefore means because of all these things that we have mentioned. So because of all these things, the environment and social structure have been eroded. This is not a coincidental thing. It is because of the previously mentioned thing. And when we say something is because of the previously mentioned things, the right connector is therefore. Therefore means because of the above. So it is therefore not coincidental that environment and social structure have been eroded in recent times, ages, days, decades. Recent means the last few ones. So can we say environment has been degraded in recent days, 4 or 5 days, in recent ages? Age can be a century, is also an age. And times again is indefinite. Recent times can be any times. So it's better to go with recent decades. At least it justifies the word recent. Ages are not recent. Times can go with recent because, but it is indefinite. So it's better to say that in recent years, in recent decades, that in last few years, we have not taken care of the environment and it has eroded, right? So these are the answers. The indicator was given in the passage itself. Well-being was given in the passage itself. Goods and services have a value. Have means possess. Monetary transactions. Therefore, because of the above. And what is that reason? Because we don't include it in GDP, so nobody takes care of environmental things, families, communities, and they are getting eroded in recent years. Recent years would be recent decades. At least we can have a time period, 20, 30 years, the environment has degraded. Right? Any confusions, anyone? A good question. You get these kind of questions in the exam. The last one for today. 2.5 minutes for this. Last one for reading writing blanks. 2.5 minutes and post your answers. Okay, should be done. Let's discuss. So they say neotropical coastal mangrove forests are usually zonal, with certain mangrove species found in the seaward portion of the habitat and other mangrove species on the more landward portions of the coast. A long sentence, but an easy one. They were talking about the forests are zonal, and we found the mangrove species in this particular portion of the habitat. So whenever we want to emphasize, we want to say that this thing is particularly found in this part, because the whole of the forest we first talked about, and then we want to say in this side of the habitat. So that would be predominantly or particularly or specifically. These are the words we use when we want to highlight something out of the group, when we want to bring one thing out of the group and specifically highlight that portion. Then we use the word mainly, specially, specifically, particularly, and the better versions of these words. The better version of mainly is predominantly. So that means mainly they are found in seaside, seaward portion of the habitat, and other species are found on the landward portions of the coast. Temporary or permanent is not the question here, whether those mangrove species, they are temporary there or they are permanent. Prevalent means common, popular, and basically found there. No, we want to say they are mainly found in this portion. The research on mangrove forests produced descriptions of species distribution from shore to land, exploring the causes of the distributions. The research, what kind of research? With the comes third form of verb. Older is V2, it will come with than. Inaugural or not inaugural, there is no information given that this was the inaugural research. The earliest is B3, the following research. Following to what? Again, no information is given. Following would have been the answer if they say the first research was done in 1911. The following research. Following means the next research. Then we can use the word following here. So we'll go with the earliest research produced descriptions of species distribution from shore to land, dash exploring the causes of the distributions. Unless is used with when you write a condition to be fulfilled. Except again is used with conditions. When you want to say except this thing, everything else, then we use except. Excluding exploring doesn't make sense. So we'll go with without exploring. Means they did the research, but they did not explore the causes of the distributions. The idea that zonation is caused by plant succession was first expressed by this person in a study of Florida mangrove forest. According to Davis's scheme, the shoreline dashed in a seaward direction because of the land building role of mangroves, which by trapping sediments over time extend the shore. Which tense? Present tense. What have we selected? Past tense. There was only one present option that was given, is being extended. You actually did not need to understand what is the meaning of being here, why are they using being. You could have just selected based on do we need a present tense answer or a past tense answer, because three options, one present, two past. The first thing you should be thinking about was, do I need a present option or a past option? And if you just read the sentence till the full stop, you come to know I need present tense. As a habitat gradually becomes more inland as the shore extends, again present tense means this was a thing happening presently. The species are replaced. This process of accretion and succession would be interrupted only by hurricanes or storm flushings. Again, a complete sentence. So what kind of process? This constant is stable. Intervening is a negative word. Continuous process would be right, because the way they have written that the shore extends. So they have explained how this works. They say as a habitat gradually becomes more inland, means this thing happens. Simple present tense. So we'll say this continuous process of accretion and succession would be interrupted by hurricanes. Thorough cannot be a process. Thorough is more used with theoretical things. Thorough is thorough revision. So these are the answers predominantly, because predominantly highlights mainly is in this portion. And research, with the comes V3, we only had one third form option, the earliest research. And the third blank, we cannot put anything else, because unless and except, unless is condition, you cannot go out unless you finish the work. Here it is not a condition. Except is when you want to say everything except this thing. The sentence is again not of this style. Excluding, exploring doesn't make sense together. So we will have to go with without. At least it is grammatically right and it makes a meaning. Without exploring the causes, they did the research. The shoreline, we needed present tense here. That is why is being extended. Constant, Zoya, how do we use the word constant? His results, his scores are constant, not increasing, not decreasing. Something which has become fixed. It's not moving, that's constant. Process of accretion and succession means things are happening there. It's not a constant thing, it's not fixed. So it is a process. Process means there are a number of stages happening in it. So it will be continuous. At first this happens, and again this happens, and this happens, and again this happens. You just need to read the fourth sentence. The fourth sentence, according to this scheme, the shoreline dash in this direction because of the land building role of mangroves, which by trapping sediments over the time extend the shore. What is extend? Present tense. That means we also need present tense here. Otherwise, they would have said extended the shore if they want to talk about past tense. So that's why I always say read the complete sentence. And reading is not just, for reading that I read and did not noted anything. Did not note anything. That's not reading. Reading with having questions in your mind. When you're reading, is this present tense, past tense, future tense? Are they using by? Are they using ing? This is your reading, because you're reading to find something. You're not reading to understand. You're reading to find your answers. Your hints, rather. Not a good attempt in this one. Okay, let's move on to reorders. First question on your screens. 2 minutes to post your answers for this one. And then we'll have a discussion. Easy question, clear hints. So let's talk about the hints first. The comic artist. So we have to name the artist before we can say the artist. It is used for non-living things. Comedy is a type of drama. This was definition. And here we had the name of the person, Aristotle. So only these four things were important. We always start with the definition. What is comedy? Comedy is a type of drama or other art form, the chief object of which is to amuse. And then it will come after, because comedy, the pronoun for comedy can be it. The other two sentences are talking about human beings, and we cannot use it for human being. That is why it means comedy, and it will come after comedy. It is contrasted on the one hand with tragedy and on the other with farce, 𝗙𝗪𝗀, and other forms of humorous amusement. So this was further explanation on comedy. And then we'll first have the name of the person, only then we can say the artist. Without naming, we cannot say the artist. So it was an easy question, a very good question rather, and should have been a full score, because two sentences are about human beings. Two sentences, one is definition, one is having it as the pronoun. Where was the confusion? Improve your thinking process, your analyzing process about reorders. Don't try to understand the story. Try to find out where is my hint. Second question, 2 minutes, and then post your answers. C should come first or B should come first? Consequently means as a result. So A is the first one because here we have the policy responding to the influx of Chinese immigrants. The Immigration Restriction Act of 1901, White Australia policy, aimed at excluding all people who were not of British or European descent from entering the country. So this was the law. And then we had a reference. This law was designed, as I always say, that the second sentence always further explains the first sentence. So the first sentence just gave you the name of the law. It is under Immigration Restriction Act of 1901 for excluding all people who were not British from entering the country. This law was designed to prevent the diluting of Australia's Anglo-Celtic heritage, that is to support the notion of a homogeneous country consisting purely of white population. This is also further explaining what they did, why they did. So what happened under this legislation, migrants who wished to settle in Australia were required to pass a dictation test that was administered in English or a European language. And because of the test, consequently, this made it extremely difficult for Asian migrants, and by the late 1940s, people made only 0.2% of the entire Australian population. Consequently, as a result of what it became difficult? As a result of the test, it became difficult for them to come in the country because they could not pass. It was not their language. So the first and second sentences try to establish a link there, that the second sentence is something which further explains the first one. Another hint, there were two sentences. Consequently was very important. As always, all the connectors are important. So any connector is actually good news, that you will get one pair because you just have to justify the connector there. Good, well done. Those have got a full score. Third and the last question for reorders. 2 minutes, post your answers. what will you get first? You will analyze first or you will get the findings first? Findings, results come after you analyze. The first sentence was B. In 1955, this person published The Political Role of Women, the first behavioralist multinational comparison of women's electoral participation ever to use election data and survey data together. What he did in the study? His study analyzed, means this is what they did, women's pattern of voting, political candidacy, political activism in 4 European countries during the first half of the 20th century. Unless and until you do the work, you cannot get the findings. Research should be done, only then you can get the findings of the research. So his research findings were that women voted somewhat less frequently than men and were slightly more conservative. This is what he analyzed, and then this was the result. This is what he found. And then we have moreover. But moreover cannot come unless and until first something is done. So his work set an early standard for the sensitive analysis of women's electoral activities. Means we are talking about whatever findings he got, whatever work he did, it set a standard for analysis. Moreover, this is a credit, right? If your work becomes a standard, it's your credit, it's to your credit. That is why it comes moreover to his credit. Means one more thing which came to his credit was he placed his findings in the context of many of the historical processes that shaped these activities. So this was a second credit given to him. So moreover means the second thing that happened. First this happened, moreover this also happened. The first three sentences were very easy. You cannot get the findings unless you do the work. So first analyzed, and then this is what he found. And then the connector rule, moreover cannot come first. Something should happen, only then you can say moreover this also happened. So moreover is just like also. Well done, Suganya. Well done. Okay, let's move on to reading questions. Here is the first one. Take 2 minutes and post your answers for this. Okay, should be done. Some funny answers. Neptune was discovered on September 23rd, 1846. It was the second planet dashed using a telescope. It was the second planet to be found because we have already found it. So we'll say to be found. Although German astronomers, this and this person were the first individuals to accurately identify Neptune in the night sky, the planet's discovery was dashed to British mathematician John Adams. So it was comes third form of verb. So the discovery was dashed to this person. So when we gave the past form, we have credited and associated. Associated comes with the word with, so it's better to go with credited because credited comes with the word to. The discovery is credited to means the credit of the discovery is given to this mathematician John Adams and French astronomer this person. Adams and 𝗙𝗿𝗀𝗀 had independently predicted the dash and location of Neptune. So after and they have used a noun which is singular. So we also need a noun which is singular. The sentence should be they predicted the location of Neptune and they predicted the dash of Neptune. So what is something about a planet that a person can predict? The nouns that we have are finding and existence. Can somebody predict the finding of the planet or they predicted the existence? Because we are talking about discovery of Neptune itself. So they predicted that this planet existed. They predicted the existence of Neptune and the location of Neptune dash its telescopic observation. It means of the Neptune's telescopic observation. So they predicted before its telescopic observation. Before anybody saw it with telescope, they are already predicted that there would be a planet here. So prior to means before the telescopic observation. So a lot of you have messed up third and fourth. Why did you write down that they predicted the finding of Neptune? Whether there is a planet or not, they predicted the existence, that there existed a planet. It is located in this place. This was what their prediction. And they did this before watching it through the telescope. So that's why the credit goes to them. Right? Any conclusions, anybody? Why are you not selecting before? Because prior to and before both are same, and prior to is more academic than before. So we should go with prior to. All right, the second question on your screens, 2 minutes to post your answers. Okay, let's discuss the answers. So this says National Hispanic Heritage Month, which is September 15 to October 15. In dash, people of the US dash the achievements of Hispanics. So here we are referring to a month, and for a month we can say the month in which, and everybody's right. The month in which people of the US dash the achievements of Hispanics. People are plural. We need a verb without S. How many do we have? Honor and appreciate. What will go with the achievements of some people? Do we honor them? Do we appreciate them? Appreciate is narrower than honor, because we have allocated one particular month to these people. So just we want to appreciate them. Appreciate is on the spot what you do for them, but honor is when you want to remember them forever. So generally we use the word honor when we say honor the people who lost their lives during a war, remembrance kind of thing. Then we use the word honor. It's better to pay our respect to something. The celebration was first authorized in 1968 when the US Congress dashed a resolution asking the President of the US annually to issue a proclamation a week in September, including September 15 and 16, as National Hispanic Heritage Week. So see how long we have been celebrating this thing, not just to appreciate. Honor is a broader word to be used. So here they say, the US Congress dashed a resolution. It happened in 1968. So we need past tense. And let's see how many past options we have is only one. Adopted. So no choice. They adopted a resolution asking the President of the US to issue a proclamation dash a week in September. So what is it? Do we designate a week or appoint a week? Designating is better, or do we appoint? Appoint is for people. Designating is to separately keep or to give a special status to something, that is designating. So designating a week in September as the National Hispanic Heritage Week. The resolution calls on the people of the US, especially the educational community, to observe National Hispanic Heritage Month with appropriate dash and activities. So they have used a plural noun. We also need a plural noun. We have two ceremonies or functions. So when we want to pay respect, tribute to someone, honor someone, what is the right word we will use? With appropriate functions or ceremonies? Ceremonies is more academic. So when we host, let's say even a function we host, in this respect that we want to pay our respect and tribute to someone, it should be called a ceremony, not a function, because function is more what we do just for enjoyment purpose, like marriage function, birthday celebration. Those are more of functions. Ceremony is first of all more academic word, and in these aspects we cannot say function because we have a special purpose behind it. So that should be a ceremony. Right? Any questions, anybody? Okay, all good. Let's look at number 3. Third question, 2 minutes to post your answers. What happened in the first one? What are you writing? Did you even read the complete sentence? According to a theory, Archean age gold quartz vein systems were formed more than 2 billion years ago. A complete sentence. Dash magnetic fluids that originated from molten granite-like bodies. You are putting discovered here. So some systems were formed more than 2 billion years ago. Discovered magnetic fluids. Do we need a verb? So you want to say Mr. A wrote with a pencil, detected a metal. A complete sentence and then putting a verb after that. This is just like some systems were formed 2 billion years ago. Discovered fluids. Is it making any sense? So the answer was these systems were formed more than 2 billion years ago from magnetic fluids. They were formed from magnetic fluids, means they were made from magnetic fluids that originated from molten granite-like bodies deep dash the surface of the earth. So deep in the surface, inside the surface, anything which can show inside. So it is beneath. Beneath is also inside the surface. So deep beneath the surface of the earth, this theory is dashed to the widely held view that the systems were deposited from metamorphic fluids, that is from fluids that formed during the dehydration of wet sedimentary rocks. So this is opposite. They said that they were made from magnetic fluids, and this theory is opposite to the view. Because opposite why? Because this is saying they were made of something else. So that is why the answer here will be this theory is contrary to, means opposite. Because this is giving something else as their formation. This was based on text-based answer. The recently developed theory has practical importance. Still we have a blank in between. Impractical importance would be a noun. So we need what kind of or how much practical importance. Major practical importance, considerable. Major or minor is not importance, but you can say a lot of importance. So a lot of means considerable importance. Most of the gold deposits discovered during the original gold rushes were exposed at the earth's surface and were found because they had shed trails of alluvial gold that were easily traced by simple prospecting methods. Although these same methods still lead to an occasional discovery, most deposits not yet discovered have gone dash because they are buried and they do not have surface expression. So deposits which have not been discovered have gone dash, undetected, because they say we are unable to find them because they are buried and there is no surface expression, means no hint at the surface that they are inside. So they have gone undetected, means we have not been able to detect them because they are buried and there is no surface hint. So these are the answers and you have done a blunder in the first sentence especially. Illogical answer, matching nowhere. So they were made from these fluids inside the earth, means beneath the earth. This theory is opposite because the theory is saying something else, that they were made from metamorphic fluids. Whereas the theory says that this is magnetic fluids that they are made from. And this theory has a lot of importance, so it will be considerable. And just the sentence is saying that we have not discovered. So they have gone undetected because they are very deep. They are they are buried. They don't have a surface expression. So they have not been detected, which means undetected. Right? Yes, Rikha, please write down your query in the chat box. Fourth and the last question for today, 2 minutes for this and then post your answers. Not a very good attempt. They say flowers are more diverse than every other group of plants, producing colors, smells, and shapes that nourish animals and dash the senses. They have used first form of verb without s. We also need first form of verb without s, and we had to delight the senses or impress the senses. Delight is better because when we see a colorful flower, when we smell, it gives us pleasure. It doesn't impresses us that we get attracted towards it. Impress is more used with personality traits. Delight means it just gives us pleasure. We feel happy. They are also dash, and some of you have written characteristics. They means flowers. And you are saying flowers are also characteristics. Flowers are also elements. Flowers are elements. So always question the pronoun. If the sentence is starting with the pronoun, you should first question what is they, what is it, what is its they are using it for. Because without that, you can understand the sentence wrong, like you have understood wrong here. So flowers are also dash. What do they want to say is petals, anthers, pistils interweave in precise arrangements to lure pollinators. So the answer was flowers are also intricate. Intricate means they are very they have lot of minute detailing in them. It's not very simple like just you see 4 petals, 5 petals, and it's a flower. You have a lot of intricate details into it. They say they are also intricate. Flowers are very intricate. How? The petals, anthers, pistils, they interweave in very precise means accurate arrangements to lure pollinators and trick them dash spreading pollen from one flower to another. So trick is a collocation with into, trick into. Note it down, those who did not know. The word trick always comes with trick into. This complexity makes it dash for scientists to compare flowering plants to plants with simpler reproductive systems such as ferns or some conifers. So this complexity makes it difficult. We cannot say complicated. They already said complexity. So it makes it difficult for scientists to make the comparisons. As a result, botanists have long focused on dash within family groups and study evolution in non-flowering plants separately from the flowering relatives. Long sentence, so I've taken just easy words. Botanists mean some kind of scientists. They have focused on what? We needed a noun here, and some of you have written intricate. Intricate is a verb, adjective. It's not a noun. So focused on what? We have nouns, characteristics, elements. So how do we use, if we say what are the characteristics of this plant? What are the characteristics of this flower? Can we say what are the elements of, especially when they have used within family groups? So they were talking about characteristics, means the features. They have studied the features of the same family of flowers. Means they have studied the flowering plant separately. They have studied the non-flowering plant separately. That means they're talking about studying the characteristics of this particular family of flowers, flowering and non-flowering, not elements. Because elements would be the parts of the flowers or something which is included is called element. But for plants, animals, we do use the word their characteristics, their features. So scientists study features and characteristics. It's better. Right? So these are the answers. The first one was it gives us pleasure. The smell, the fragrance, the colors, the shapes, they give us happiness. And flowers are also intricate, means they're very detailed. They have interweaving, small parts are interweaved. Trick comes with into, and this complexity makes it difficult, means it makes the whole process difficult. And scientists, which are botanists, who study plants specifically, they have focused on characteristics within the family. They haven't studied the relationship between two different family of flowers. So those who have written verbs and adjectives in the last blank, that's very wrong. At least you should now not go wrong with whether you need a noun, verb, adjective, or adverb. Those who have attended even 5 to 6 classes, we keep on discussing when there is a need for adjective, when you need to put an adverb, and when it is noun. So don't go wrong there at least. Any confusions? All good? Okay, so these were all the questions that we had to do today. I hope you would have noted down things. Right? And we do have a class tomorrow. Before you people leave, we do have a class tomorrow because I did not conduct a class on Monday. So we will compensate for that class tomorrow at the same time. So please don't take a leave. You have to come and attend the class. And then you can enjoy the weekend, 2 holidays, Saturday and Sunday. Right? Anything else before we leave? Anybody?